Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Samantha. Wow, I was about to say my old name, Samantha Light, and I come to you from my haven, my beautiful haven here in San Luis, and the beautiful crystalline rainbow diamond light rays that are coming through. So beautiful and magical. Decided to head to the park early this morning, visit my family. And there was a couple of things that were coming through that I wanted to share with you guys. Now that I've been connecting to my feline family, and these particular, the lions in particular, here at the park, that coincide with the frequencies. So it's going to be like a frequency report update, along with some insights and realizations, revelations, guidance, all of it, everything that's coming through right now. The frequencies that are coming through right now are beyond powerful. I'm sure you have felt, I'm sure you have sensed them, I'm sure you know this, and I know that we all know this, right? But the sensations and the experiences and the physical stuff that's happening as a result it creates a lot, it activates a lot, it shakes up a lot of things and a lot of different emotions. Technically speaking, because of the amount of emotional suppression that we have agreed to carry within this physical body, every frequency, every energetic wave that is coming through is supposed to, it's meant to trigger an enormous amount of emotions, an enormous amount of stuff. Let me just wipe my little camera here. I feel like it's a little dirty. There you go. Ooh, look at that. So cool. It's supposed to. In fact, everything, even when you're not emotionally feeling or crying or whatever the case may be, this is a whole emotional, it's a recalibration of your emotional and your nervous system. This is why a lot of people are going through so much emotionally, and this is why the nervous system sometimes gets on overload, because there's so much stuck, there's so much underneath the surface, there's so much programming embedded, fear lack based program embedded in our emotional system and our nervous system. Technically speaking, it's been embedded in every single system within our physical body. But at some level, it's always going to be some sort of emotional release, emotional clearing. Again, whether you are physically, emotionally and physically purging. So easiest example is when you're in the void and you're completely emotionless, your nervous system and your emotional body is recalibrating. So even while you may not feel the emotion, or you may not be able to like pinpoint the emotion, like you being emotionless is also part of the emotional rebalancing. So anyways, there's so much going on that it is a roller coaster. We will always go through the energetic waves of everything. In fact, yesterday was pretty emotional for me. Excuse me. In fact, it started 2 days ago. And so yesterday, I was in this emotional roller coaster all day long. And I noticed a lot of people also sharing how not how emotionally, but how intense it's been. So for me, it was emotional. For other people, it might have been emotional, but in other ways. Like for me, it was like deep crying, and then it's okay, and then back into it, and then I'm okay, and then back into it. So it was all day. It was just this emotional roller coaster, and I had been reading a lot of people talking about how they were also feeling the intensity of it in their own way, which was really, really normal. We're preparing for the next 777 portal, which is coming up in about 2 days. Yesterday, with the frequencies of, what was yesterday? It was 747. There's a lot of rebalancing and recalibrating, which is exactly what it felt like emotionally. It was just this purging that supports the recalibration and the rebalancing of your body. So the other thing that I've been noticing, and I know a lot of people have been noticing too, and it's important to remember and to keep sharing this. The acceleration points right now are super powerful because they're back to back. So like I've mentioned this before. There was a moment in time when it seemed like there was more in between time, or the in between phase between heavy, intense experiences, upgrades, emotional purgings was longer. We're not really getting the length of time is a lot shorter. So we may go through a day to a few days, maybe even a week, I'm not sure. Depends, obviously, on everyone. We may go through a significantly shorter amount of time where we're like, oh, yay. We get to feel the result of of the intensity of our experiences. We get to feel the result of like, oh, the peace, the clarity, the joy, right? We get those experiences, but it feels like they don't last as long as they used to before. So it's like, oh, I just get like a little taste, and before I know it, I'm back again into the intensity, into the clearing, into the whatever the case may be, the physical stuff. So a lot of people, a lot of us, a lot of aspects are not liking that at all. And they're also they even get emotional about that, which is normal. But they're getting a little whatever the word for you that it is. It's like, what? Like, are you serious? Or they may be getting a little frustrated about, we're getting a little frustrated, or sometimes they may be getting a little frustrated about the length. No way. Oh my god, they're switching them. Okay, I need to pause. Sorry about that. So this is what happened. My back was facing the the lion cage. But when I turned, there was a gentleman that was in the cage, escorting the lion out. And I was like, oh my god, they're gonna transition. So what it looks like, it looks like they're about to transition, because so there's two lions. And the first time I came here, the lady was telling me that every day they get switched because they only have one. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, this is so fascinating. I don't know if you can see a little bit. That gentleman right there, that's walking, right there. So he's now inside the lion's cage, like the big open area that they have. They only have one big open area, but they have two lions. So every day they get switched out so that each lion can have the opportunity to be in that open field. And so we're like, oh, now they actually need more space. They need to build more stuff, because the pumas and the jaguar, I believe, well, they have one jaguar that, oh yeah, I did see it. I have a whole bunch of like pumas, and they're growing, so they're gonna need more space. So at one point I'm gonna start asking, like, okay, how can we start funding this? I really don't know. I'm sure the government at some, I mean, this is a state park, I guess. And so, yeah, they're gonna need more space. They're definitely gonna need more space. So anyways, right now, it's so fascinating because I'm like, oh, they're in the transition. We're in the middle of a humongous transition. Like, of course that would be what's happening right now. And it's being confirmed by right now what's happening with the lions they're in transition. So it's funny because one of the lions is on the other side of the big open gate, and he's pacing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's us. Kind of pacing, kind of like, okay, when are we gonna get out? When are we going to cross this threshold that we're going through right now? And it feels very much where we are right now. We're in this transitional phase, right? That feels very significant and feels very symbolic, in a lot of different ways. Part of what, so kind of going back to like the whole the acceleration point. Well, I am keeping an eye because I really want to see the transition. The what's it called? The transitional phase, the acceleration phases that we're going through right now are supporting this big, huge, massive transition. So like, oh my goodness. This is a challenge, guys, because everything I see is just so beautiful and magical here. And it forces me to stop. This beautiful red bird just stopped right in my right in front of where I am. The acceleration points are so massive right now, and they're, like I was mentioning earlier, the in-between phases are so much shorter right now because we're in a big, huge transition phase that we need to be ready for. So our bodies need to reach, like, they need to reach they need to get to a certain level. And obviously everyone is different. Everyone is in a different phase. Everyone is in a different phase of their journey. So it just depends. But everything is accelerating so much right now because of how big this transition point is. Now, when I talk about transitions, right? Transitional phases. Oh my god. This is so funny, guys. We have the little sheep coming. Oh, they're so adorable. I got to pet one the other day. Okay, back. When we talk about transitional phases and we're like, oh, well, how long and when, and right? So there's little mini transitional phases. We are in the many transitional phases right now. And we're okay. So let's just say this whole decade is a huge transitional phase. Inside the decade, there's a whole bunch of mini transitional phases that we're going through right now. They're so cute. The little sheep. There are many, you know, I can't say, oh, there's this amount of, no, there's this amount of phases. No, there's many. There's always going to be a phase. I wasn't sure if he was going to stop and say something. They're watering the little open space now. There's many different phases, many phases right now. And so this is why it's intense. We are like overall, we're in like this huge transitory phase, but we're going through so many mini little phases inside this huge transitory phase that it makes it a little bit more intense. So see, they come over around. So just get excited. Okay, obviously when you're going through it, when you're in the middle of your hell, you're in it. Like you're feeling it. Like deep down inside of me, there's a level of like, hell yeah, it's exciting because of so much what this entails and what will come after this and the result and everything that's shifted in my body. But while I'm in it, I'm feeling it. I am in the depths of it. I am in my emotional purging. I'm not going to force myself to be excited because this has nothing to do with forcing or controlling anything. This is everything about honoring where I am. So yesterday, going through my emotional roller coaster, like I was mentioning earlier, I was like, oh, it was great, it's fine 1 minute, the next thing I know, I hear something, I see something, and out come the downpour of the tears, the downpour of everything. In that moment, I'm in it. Now, this is interesting because I'm in it from a very honoring space. I'm not in it from a resistance. I'm not in it. It's this balance, I feel, of being so open to it, being so in it, but not so in it that I have no hope, that I feel, destitute, that I'm like done, like deeply down, like, wanting to end things. I'm not. It's like this internal balance of being surrendered and being so open to the experience and simultaneously being really deep into my emotional purging in a way that allows me to anchor myself back into my peace whenever I go back, whenever the wave or the phase goes up, right? So you're a wave, so it goes like this. So when I'm in the lower phases, I'm like completely in my emotional purging. When I come back up out of that phase, it's a little easier for my body to get right back into the peace. Okay, I'm okay. And sometimes it's really, really fast. Like I could be crying my eyes out, and the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. So it's quite interesting. It'll always be really interesting. And the biggest thing for me to say about this is to continuously close your eyes if you're guided to when you're going through this. Be in a space and be in a location where you can go fully into this. There's so many things, but right now, because I'm kind of looking, I'm on watch right now with my friend. Let's see if you can see. So you can see him right there. It's like walking back and forth. And then we could see him. He went the other way. Anyway. Oh, there he is. Oh, can you see him? He's wagging his little tail. I can't zoom because I'm using my front camera. But yeah, I definitely want to see the transition. It's so cool. I keep getting I get really emotional, by the way, when I'm here. I mentioned this. Oh, I haven't posted that video. I mentioned this earlier. It's like I've been here for 2 years and I never knew that this was here. Like I knew the park was here, but I didn't know these animals were here. So I'm so blessed because this is better than the zoo. Like I can come here anytime that I want. This is why I want to see how I can support, because the park is free and open, and this is too. So anyways, it's a beautiful opportunity, and I'm blessed to have this, and I'm blessed to be able to share it with you guys too. It's actually really, really cool. But yeah, there's so much that gets triggered. So earlier I got to see the other lion in the smaller cage, and he was roaring. He roared like 3 or 4 times, and you could tell he wanted to get out. And it's so symbolic of how it is right now, like how we are living right now. Like, oh, that's us, by the way. We're in that cage, and we're opening up more and more and more and more and more. I mean, oh my God, this is so cool. So it's interesting because we're in the smaller cage. We go from small cage to big cage, to small cage to big cage, just like they are. So we're going from 4D to 5D. 5D is a bigger kind of cage. After 5D, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. He's just patiently waiting. He's pacing back and forth, but he knows he's gonna get out, and that's kind of us right now. It's like we know what's coming. We know that we're gonna get out. Like we know that we're gonna have the opportunity to be in a bigger bigger space. um, it's like at some level we're always going to be at some sort of quote unquote cage. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I heard this somewhere. I'm like, oh, ooh, okay. But I feel like when you're not in a cage, you're just back with source. Like back with source, back with oneness, fully without. Well, you can't. Interesting. Anyway, back with source, back into like the unity field, the unified field of consciousness, without projecting yourself into anything else. That's when you're kind of cageless, like fully cageless. So, I know that I'm all over the place. But this is how we quantumly roll. What else did I want to say? The transitional phases. We're in a huge transitional phase right now. The roller coasters, the purges, the big physical purges are continuing to be really intense, and they get there's less time in between each them. This is because it's like the body is like, no time to fool around now. We don't have time to play and to go slow anymore. We have to accelerate things, and things are accelerating. Things will continue to accelerate in bigger and bigger and bigger and more powerful ways. So that was one thing that I wanted to share with the frequencies. The other thing that I wanted to share that was really like interesting, that was what was I gonna say? That was coming from, I'm gonna sit because I feel like they're gonna take a while. So hold on. That was really fascinating, coming through into coming and seeing like the frequencies of the lion. So when we talk about lions, I feel like the overall energy of the lion is primarily like the divine masculine, right? It's the king of the jungle. It's the one that takes charge. It's the one that kills its prey. It's the one that goes out and hunts, right? The provider. And this is the energy that we've been in for a really long time. The go-getter, the provider, the action taker. All of these different things, right? Because of where they are right now, it's very symbolic to where we are. So this is so cool when we get to really just open up and see all the similarities and how everything fits. Right now, because of the circumstances, the phases, this is a phase, by the way. When I opened up and really saw this, it's like, oh, this is a phase. They're in Noah's Ark right now, waiting for the storm to pass. Right now where they're at, they're more in their divine feminine energy rather than their divine masculine. And so it's interesting because it's in their gene. This is like a very normal, natural energy for lions to be. They're naturally in their divine masculine, right? This allows them to shift and to anchor more of their divine feminine. So this is for the sake of the example. They're literally, they're so, well, I'll say this. They're taken care of. They're fed every day, right? So they don't have to go kill prey. They literally just sit around and lay around the grass and just not sleep all day, but they sleep, and they're very much in their being state right now. They're in their divine feminine. This is where we're at right now, which is quite uncomfortable. And we get restless, and it gets confusing, and we get frustrated because we're so used to being in the masculine energy. And I'll say distorted masculine energy. The distorted masculine energy is that push. I gotta go get this. I gotta go get her. The never quit from lack. Like I have to go. Be in my go. Be on autopilot. Survival mode. The survival mode mechanism activates our distortions, activates our feminine and masculine distortions. So in order to clear all of that right now for this, for these two lions and every animal in here, mostly everyone, they now are quote unquote forced to be in the opposite energy, which is just the being, which is just you laying around, which is just you receiving. They receive food, they receive shelter, and all they have to do is just be. The reason why we get so knocked out and knocked down physically and emotionally is because this is the transition phase of coming out of our distortion, mostly masculine, but also feminine, distorted masculine, into the divine feminine. The divine feminine is the energy of beingness. So literally all you have to do is just be. Just open up and be, rest, relax. This is why all we do is sleep sometimes, because you are clearing yourself from all of the distorted frequencies and energies that pushed you to doing things, to be in that action taker mode from fear and lack. So right now it's really interesting to see this. The lions just laying there, just being in their being state. I'm like, oh, they're also going through their process of anchoring more of their divine feminine, and they're supporting us too, because we're in the exact same phase right now. We are at different moments, right? We're in those phases and those stages where we can't do anything. We can't do what we are used to doing. We can't do things in the way we're used to doing them, or in the capacity, or in the level, or whatever the case may be, right? Like we can't. It's virtually impossible. And it's becoming more and more palpable that, yeah, we're not going to be able to do things in the same way. But it's also a phase. So we have to stay long enough in this phase, and we have to continuously open up to when we have to be fully in this phase, so that we continue to anchor more and more of divine feminine before the process completes, quote unquote, for that phase. And then you're pushed into, oh, okay, now I can do, but from my being state. So we are simultaneously going to be able to maintain that being state, that pure presence, while we're in that action mode phase, action taker, that push, that divine masculine push that we'll eventually get to. And again, it's not linear. We come in and out of those phases too. But when you are knocked down, when you are in your physical, emotional, mental breakdown, it's so important to honor this 1,000%, let go of absolutely everything that you think you need to do, let go of absolutely everything that you think you need to get done, so that that phase goes by a lot quicker, and you're able to your body's able to recalibrate and come back into a space where you are able to do a little bit of that action, a little bit of that, all of that stuff. So again, just kind of looking at this, right? The lion is waiting patiently to come out. The guy is watering the whole open space. So it's like, oh, he's getting it ready, like he's maintaining it. Or our internal 5D near Earth reality is being watered right now. Like it's being prepared. Like we are in that preparation, preparing it, watering it, taking out the weeds, whatever the case may be, internally. Like our bodies are doing this so that our physical new Earth reality can become more and more palpable enough for us to walk into, or experience in the physical. So super, super fascinating. I don't know if I'll be able to stay, because I do have to go back to the call. But in any case, I just wanted to share this info, share a little bit of an update, and just again, everything, what the energies that I get to connect here with, show me so much, and they bring so much information through, that I feel it's important to share with you. So again, I'm going with the flow with this. I'll be probably coming out and doing more videos, and whenever that is. So for those that would like to receive more support, right now my website is being hosted by Thinkific, so it's really just my courses. So if you go to coachsamrod.com, you'll go into my different courses right now. Eventually I'll have my website back. If you are on Facebook, I do post a lot on Facebook. I do have a Facebook group and I have a Telegram group. I'll post the links below. And yeah, have a wonderful and beautiful day. Take care.